Home coffee roasting is a great hobby. You've watched some videos, you read some things online, and you hit the buy button and bought a roaster. And now that you've got it home and you've roasted a few times on it and things didn't turn out like you had hoped. Now what? All right, thank you for joining me today and welcome to the Virtual Coffee Lab. You have been watching some videos online, you read some articles, and you saw a roaster that seemed to be within your price budget and you hit the buy button. And you bought this roaster, it showed up at your place, and you've roasted a couple times on it now and your coffee is not good. Now what do you do? And so we're going to address that. We're going to address the new home coffee roaster that needs to get pointed in the right direction so that they can roast some great coffee. And we're going to do that, but we're going to do this with the understanding that it's not a perfect science. And we know that each of us uses a different roasting device. And so with that being said, my 4 points are crafted in a way that it applies to any roaster that you've purchased and any skill level that you have. All right? Okay, the first tip is you need to understand the capabilities of your roaster. The capability of a roaster in heating up, the capability of your roaster cooling the coffee down, the capability of your roaster with all of the other features that have come along with this roaster. You need to understand what this roaster can do for you. How long is it going to take you to put the beans in the roaster and get those beans to turn from green to yellow, or from yellow to first crack, or from first crack until the time you drop the beans out of the roaster? The only way you're going to be able to do that is to experiment. I did that with this roaster here. I let the roaster warm up because that's what you're supposed to do with a drum roaster. If you have an air roaster, you may or may not use a warm-up with your air roaster. I did the 3 videos with the popper. There was no warm-up with the popper. I saw that temperature go up 200 degrees in a minute. It doesn't need a warm-up. This drum roaster here, I let warm up to about 400 degrees, and I let it idle at 400 degrees for about 20 minutes or a little bit longer. And then I turned the gas on full, 100% power, put in a pound of beans, and I watched how long it took to go from green to yellow, from yellow to first crack. I never changed any of the settings. And from first crack until it went to second crack, how long did all of that take? Now, this is going to vary a little bit from bean to bean, depending upon the bean you're using, but it's going to give you an idea of the capability of your roaster. Because ultimately, you're going to want to break your roast down into chunks of time, 3 chunks of time. The time that it takes for your roaster to go from green, or your beans to go from green to yellow, and then from yellow to first crack, and then from first crack until you drop them out of the roaster. And each one of those chunks of time we call phases. Those phases are going to have different amounts of time required for each. So not only is it about getting your roaster hot, but it's also about controlling your temperatures and slowing, backing off that heat to slow the roast down during the middle phase, for example. And so you're going to want to be able to have your heat further up on the scale during the dry phase, but then you're going to want to start to back that down on the browning phase. Can your roaster do that? How do you do that? How long does it take for your roaster to slow down and cool down just a little bit so that you won't fly through the rest of the roast? Those are questions you need to find out, and you'll do that by experimenting with your roaster. All right, the second point is understanding the accessories, the other features that come along with your roaster and how they might benefit you during the roasting process. So my roaster has a drum that has a variable speed. So I would use that as a tool to help me to create more air movement, more convection roasting further into the roast. So once I get to the dry phase and I'm moving in now, once I get into the browning phase and I move into this phase, I'm going to want to turn my drum up to create more convection. And I can do that because I have a variable speed drum. For air roasting people, you may have different fan speeds, or you may have different physical accessories that, like longer tubes and things, that are going to allow you to manipulate temperatures and help you in your roasting process. And so you need to learn about what your features are of your roaster, and you're going to do that by reading the instructions of the roaster and going online and looking for specific videos for your exact roaster to see how those features work and how they might influence your coffee roasting experience. Then when that's all said and done, you're going to take that information and you're going to apply that to how you're going to craft great coffee. But you're going to come back to, this is my third tip or my third point, roasting basics. You're going to have to learn about basic roasting, coffee roasting principles that are going to help you craft some great coffee. You know what your roaster's capabilities are. You know that the features that your roaster has that are going to help you craft this great coffee, but you don't know how to get there. You don't know how to map that out throughout your roast. Right now you're throwing beans in the roaster, you're turning your temperature on, and you're watching the beans brown, hit first crack, and you've roasted coffee. And I'm telling you that there's more to roasting coffee than that, that's going to give you a better flavor, a better experience. And so learning about basic coffee roasting principles, and there's a learning curve to that, but it's a great experience once you have tasted it. Let's just say that. So I would encourage you to check out my playlist, Home Coffee Roasting Essentials playlist. That is going to go through, I don't want to call it roasting theory because it might scare some people, but it's not really that confusing. I try to lay things out in very general principles that will help you get started on the path to understanding coffee roasting principles, and now how your equipment is going to help you achieve that. All right. And the fourth point, and this is probably the most important point, is to be able to participate in coffee communities online. And you do that through a place like this channel, or if you are involved with a specific roaster, there are specific Facebook groups. And those are all great places to get information, to share information. I would highly encourage you to do that. But I would also give you a warning, and that is you really don't know who you're talking to on the other end. Somebody makes a comment, I did this. Well, that might have been only their second roast ever. And so you're not sure exactly what you're getting. And so what I would tell you, and I would give you the same answer for my channel, you don't know what you're getting until you try it. So I would encourage you that if somebody gives you a suggestion, think about it, see how that applies to the things that you're learning as far as basic coffee roasting principles, and apply that, test it, and see if it works. And if it works, great. If it doesn't work, then you know not to listen to that person again, or be a little more cautious, or find a better source altogether, a better place. So the coffee community is important because it will give you encouragement. It will allow you to hear other people talking about coffee terms, coffee processes, and it gets you enveloped in this world of roasting coffee at home. And it helps you understand the lingo, the terminology, and when you understand the principles, then guess what's going to happen? Not only are you going to be able to roast some great coffee, but you're going to be able to share some of what you learned with others and share your coffee with others. I've got videos on sharing coffee with others. Check that out as well. But that's it. Those are the 4 points. If you've got a new roaster, don't give up. Don't get discouraged. Begin to learn. It's a great opportunity. Coffee community is a great community. Ask your questions here. If you have questions about your roaster or roasting coffee, ask them, and we'll do our best to get some great answers for you, at least point you in the right direction. I hope this information has been helpful for you. Hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. That's the best thing you can do for me. If you've really enjoyed this video, subscribe to my channel. That helps me out a lot. Doesn't cost you a penny, but it helps me. And I really appreciate you guys being here. Leave your comments, ask your questions, and we will see you the next time here at the Virtual Coffee Lab. Have a great week roasting.